Hey guys, Brad Pryor here with Garrett Brandon, hanging out with Garrett Yerigan.
There you go.
Hey!
Hey, I promise whatever you would have said would have not been the worst it's ever been butchered.
Really?
So it's okay, yeah. It's just one of those things I've grown up understanding. Like, it's to the point now where if I'm like in a loud room or, if at a party or something or somebody, I'm introducing myself, I don't even say my last name because it's inevitable. Somebody's like, huh? What? What was that again? So I just go, I'm Garrett.
What do you do for a living?
Underwater basket weaving.
Basket weaving. You don't knit?
Sometimes in my free time. When people ask what I do for a living, I just simply put, I get paid to do exactly what I used to get detention for in school. Talking.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So some of my teachers that I still am friends with on Facebook and different things, they always love when I tease them about that the same thing they used to give me detention for, I get paid for.
Well, your name's been used on this podcast.
In vain?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're here to defend yourself.
That is true. I heard there was a little snotty-nosed punk that was on here a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So if you're watching, I'll take this up with you later.
Garrett is a professional announcer for the rodeo industry.
True story.
Pretty good at it.
Thank you. I've had some blessings and been fairly successful. I always tell people it's the time-honored little saying about those who can't do teach, those who can't teach talk about it. I couldn't do or teach rodeo, so I just talk about it.
That's a good one. So where are you from?
Originally from Pryor, Oklahoma.
Hey, you can't beat that.
Yeah, up in northeast Oklahoma, and my dad is originally from Minnesota. My mom is from Ohio, and they met through rodeo and ended up moving to Oklahoma. And so I'm born and raised Okie, and then about 3 years ago, I moved down here to Weatherford, Brock, Texas, and I tell people I didn't grow up in a football family or a baseball family. I grew up in a rodeo family. I've been around it since I was 2 weeks old and don't know anything different. It's bred into me, so it's a fatal attraction, I guess.
Did you rodeo?
I never competed. I tried a little bit of everything at home, sliding the steer saver. My dad was a steer wrestler, so I slid the steer saver and didn't really love that. Riding steers, roping. Like I said, tried a little bit of everything, and nothing ever just, I've always been told when I was growing up that when you found the thing you wanted, that you were supposed to do, when you found the thing God put you on this earth to do, it would reach out and grab you. And I never just felt like any of that reached out and grabbed me. And when we were going to rodeos anyway, the announcer stand always kind of drew my attention. And I've just kind of started hanging out up there or close to there and meeting the announcers. And when I was about 6 or 7, I started doing the slack at rodeos. And now, fast forward, I figured out in my career now why those guys were so willing to let me announce the slack, because we don't want to do it. But no, it was a great opportunity to get microphone time at a very young age and meet announcers and stock contractors and rodeo producers. And obviously I was hanging out with the contestants, mostly the bulldoggers, but it just snowball effect. And then I started doing jackpot barrel racings and steer wrestlings and calf ropings and team ropings and youth rodeos and anything that I could get microphone time at. And my parents used to tease me. I'd sit in my bedroom and watch rodeo on TV with it muted and announce it like it was doing my own. So just, growing up like that. And I did my first full rodeo. It was an IPRA rodeo in Butler, Missouri. I did it when I was 12 years old. And I guess, the rest is history, snowball effect from there, and just continued networking and meeting the people. And I did the International Finals Rodeo 7 times from 2014 to 2020. And then I bought my PRCA card in 2014. I didn't announce a PRCA rodeo until 2017. And then 2020, I did the very first National Finals Breakaway Open. Then 2021 and 2022, I was very, very blessed to win the PRCA's Announcer of the Year. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you had to buy a card as well to be an announcer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just like the contestants buy a a card. We buy a contract personnel card also.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So the contestant card is $500 a year. Ours is $460 a year, but then we pay $10 insurance every rodeo we work. So if we work 30 rodeos, that's another $300 that we're paying in insurance. So, if we work 30 events, we've got $760 wrapped up in PRCA, membership plus, fees. Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we have to get approved for them. So for announcers, when you decide, all right, I'm going to go get my PRCA announcer's card, you send the PRCA a list of 5 rodeos that you're working. They can be anything that is a full rodeo. So it can be an IPRA rodeo, a CPRA rodeo, a UPRA rodeo, whatever. It just can't be a bull riding only or a bronc riding only or a calf roping only. Like, it has to have all the events. And you send them a list of 5 and $500. And then they will look at their schedule of evaluators, and one of those 5 rodeos, they'll send an evaluator to come listen. And if you are denied, then you have to wait till the next season comes around and try again. Or if you're approved, then you send them the $460 for the actual card. And then you're on your kind of permit status for 1 year. And in that year, you must attend a PRCA judging seminar. And then once you attend that seminar, then you're full-fledged status and, can book any rodeo that calls. But, it's not a big, lengthy process, but there is more to it than just calling the PRCA office saying, hey, I want to buy my announcer's card. Okay, here it is. There is some approval to it.
So, in doing all that, like on the contest, being we're talking about cards, on a contestant, is it the same kind of setup? They go and evaluate them, or is it off their winnings at other rodeos?
No, contestants, they kind of thin themselves out because the good ones are going to stick around and the bad ones aren't. So they're they have the permit status for a card holder. So if you're a team roper and you buy your PRCA card, you buy your permit. And then you got to win a certain amount of money. I think it's $1,000. And then once you win $1,000, you can go buy your card, or you can hang out on your permit. So a lot of guys, if you win your $1,000 real early in the year, early in the season, they'll go ahead and buy their card and have their rookie status. But some guys, if you don't win your $1,000 till maybe say June or July, they'll just stay on their permit till the like this year, 2025, they'll stay on their permit till the 2026 season. So that come October 1, you've got a fresh start and have the most time possible to be the rookie of the year and make the NFR and stuff. So, there was a lot of conversation. Prime example, Hayden Welsh this year in the bull riding, he's on his permit. And if he had bought his card as soon as he won his $1,000, he would have made the NFR this year. But he wanted that full year of being a permit and then a full year of being a rookie that he waited. So, there's lots of different people back and forth on social media. Believe that or not, that there's controversy on social media. There's lots of people that, oh man, he should have bought his card. He should have bought his card. He'd be at the NFR. But then there's also people, oh, good for him, staying steady and just having a good, startup year and then being ready for next year. So, it's however you look at it, but you got to fill your permit, and then you can kind of make your decision after that. Now, interesting caveat though, the WPRA does not have a permit status, or a permit level. So once you win your $1,000, you have to buy your card. There's no waiting till the next season begins. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When you're younger, did you have like a goal of what you wanted to accomplish?
Absolutely. Anybody that tells you they don't have goals, they either need to reevaluate their life or they're lying to you. But I did. Once I figured out announcing was what God put me on this earth to do, I absolutely set goals. Whether it was announced in the IFR, in the IPRA, and I did that, and announcing the big rodeos, like Fort Worth and Cheyenne that I've been very, very blessed to be a part of the last few years now. There's still rodeos on the bucket list. Obviously, the NFR is one of them. Everybody wants to do the NFR, and again, if they say otherwise, they're lying. Just like any contestant wants to compete at the NFR. So it's a different type of goal, though. I mean, because we're not like just entering up and competing at and trying to win a rodeo or a world championship. Our way of business is a little different. It's we're just waiting on that phone call of, if you're producing a rodeo, you just got to call whoever you want to announce it, and we always hope for that call. And we're all independent contractors. There's no announcers union or anything. We try to look out for each other and take care of one another, but at the end of the day, we're all independent contractors. So it's like, I use the example of, it's like if you're putting a roof on a house, you're gonna go out for bids. You go, okay, I'm building this house and I need somebody to put a roof on it. And you may call me or Garrison or Anthony or whoever and get bids from all of us. And then you pick whichever one you like, whether it be the quality or the price. And you say, all right, you're going to come put this roof on. Well, same thing. If you're putting on a rodeo, you're going to call us and say, hey, I'm putting on a rodeo. I want you to price what it'd take to announce it. And you figure out who you want, quality or price or both or neither. And then we go announce the rodeo and do the job. I guess the big difference though is we want the repeat business year after year. Hopefully when you put a roof on a house, you're done after one time.
Right.
But we want to build a relationship and stay around for years to come. And that's probably one of the biggest differences between announcers and clowns is announcers, if we're doing our jobs correctly, we're likely to stay somewhere. I mean, prime example, Bob Tallman this coming January will celebrate his 50th year at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo.
Wow.
Which is just amazing and a testament to his abilities and his personality and just, everything he's done for the industry. So we all strive to have those kind of relationships where clowns, the era of the guys that have stayed around for years, Liesl Harris, he had a handful of rodeos that he had been at for 20, 25 years, where that has kind of gone to the wayside. A lot of events now will change up and they may have John Harrison for 2 years, and then they'll have Justin Rumford for 2 years and Matt Merritt for 2 years. They'll kind of rotate around just to keep the comedy fresh and different. Where, announcers, we build relationships with sponsors and fans and committee people that, we kind of become a fabric of the rodeo, hopefully. There's all kinds of different little nuances of each part of rodeo. And I think when it all comes together, that's what makes it successful.
Is it the production company that's actually, or the producer that is hiring you, or is it a rodeo board?
More so in the PRCA, it's a rodeo committee or a rodeo board. Right. So, for example, we'll use Cheyenne, for example. The Cheyenne Frontier Days is the rodeo, the organization. They have their, full-time staff, and then they have the 12 committee chairman, and the rodeo chairman works very closely with the CEO, Tom Herzig, about who they want at their rodeo, whether it be announcers, music, clowns, bullfighters, whatever. And then, they obviously have Smith Pro Rodeos, that's the primary stock contractor, and they help with pickup men and all the arena crew and subcontractor stuff. So I am hired by Cheyenne Frontier Days directly. There are some smaller events that are hired by the stock contractor. For example, Goliad, Texas, small rodeo that I do in March. And is a phenomenal rodeo. They're recognized both in the circuit and on the national level each year. And they do a lot for the contestants. That rodeo there, I'm hired by the stock contractor, by Smith Pro Rodeos. So it depends on the dynamic of the rodeo. When you got a smaller committee like that, the Goliad County Fair, when they have lots of other different irons in the fire, and most of them are volunteers, right? So they hire somebody like Stace Smith to just turnkey. We want to have a rodeo. We want it to be awesome. Put it together. Where like a Cheyenne, when they have dedicated employees to year-round operation of the rodeo, they can spend more time studying, who they want in all these different roles and stuff. So, like I said, a little bit of both, but I would say in the PRCA, majority is we're hired by the committees themselves.
So, in the production side of it, is when they're, say, Smith Rodeo is hiring you, do you recommend a clown to work with you, or do you have one?
Sometimes, and again, we're all independent contractors, so it's not like I'm getting a cut off of, if I recommend someone, I'm not getting a cut of their paycheck. It's just a lot of times a committee will come to me and say, hey, we're looking at and again, it's nothing against who they've had. It's just they want to keep it fresh and different and change it up. And so they'll say, who do you recommend? Who do you work well with? Who do you have a good relationship with? And of course, we all have our friends. And I mean, just like you in the construction business, you've got your people that you enjoy working with and that you trust and know the quality of work they do. And the same thing for me. There's a handful of guys out there that I enjoy working with, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that I've not worked with yet that I would love to work with. But again, when somebody asks you, who would you recommend, you're always worried about taking the gamble on somebody you've never worked with. You can hear different reports and, this guy was great, or this guy, had an off night, whatever. But you always go with your gut of what you know. I have worked with that person. I know that person's quality of work. So yeah, there's definitely guys that I'll, recommend and whatever. But like I said, I don't get any commission or anything like that off of it. It's just, who do I enjoy working with and who do I want to work with again? So.
Right. Who's been your mentor?
It's funny. There's so many guys that I've looked up to.
Not Garrison, is it?
Not Garrison. I look down to him. He's a little guy. It's funny because I've grown up, like I said, 2 weeks old. I was at my first rodeo. So I've been so fortunate to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. From in the IPRA, the greats like Danny Newland and the late Mark McGee. Those guys. Martin Northall is a great friend of mine, and I learned a lot from him. And then in the PRCA, it's almost a pinch me moment to think that I've text and even have Bob Tallman's phone number. Like, that's just amazing. Boyd Polhamus, Randy Corley, the late Hadley Barrett was one of my favorite humans that I got to spend a little bit of time with. There's just so many guys that paved the way for where we are today, and being able to go to all those rodeos young, it's one of those things, looking back, I didn't even realize at the time that I was learning from those guys, just subconsciously listening and learning, and what I liked, what I didn't like, what I could see worked with an audience, what didn't work with an audience. Then I was able to kind of put all that in a blender and make Garrett, make my style and stuff. And people will comment every once in a while. They'll hear a certain announcer in me and what I say and do. But, I try not to just totally copy somebody. But, of course, there's always those little, I heard somebody say this and it spurred me to think of this. So, there's little connections. But, like I said, those names that I just mentioned, those would be the guys that probably that I owe the most to, even whether they realize it or not, of just watching and learning. And now I get to work with some of those guys. I work with Bob in Fort Worth. I worked with Boyd at the NFR Open, and we do the Cinch Playoffs Governor's Cup together. I got to do the first National Finals breakaway with Randy, and then I did 1 year at Hermiston, Oregon with him. So it's, it's like I said, it's a pinch me moment to think that the guys I grew up listening to and thinking, man, I want to do what they're doing one day. And now I've gotten to share the announcer stand with them. So it's a really, really awesome thing to come full circle.
What's that dynamics when you have two announcers in the booth? How do y'all play off each other?
Well, first and foremost, it helps if you're friends outside the arena. If like Anthony and I think he and I are work well together because we're friends outside the arena. And I can't say there's anybody that I genuinely don't enjoy working with, because everybody kind of has their own personality, right? I mean, I probably work the most co-announcing with Anthony, but our styles are different. but I think they complement each other. So when it comes together, it's good. And Bob and I think, have a great rapport on the microphone. And Boyd and I's styles are a lot more similar. He's much better at it than I am, but our styles are more similar. But it comes together good. It's a high energy presentation, very, very point driven, very fact driven, and very, very dramatic driven, I guess. Him and I are both very analytical when it comes to numbers. So when it gets down, especially like Sioux Falls, the end of the year, we can really start dissecting. He's got to win this much money. He's got to be this many points or this fast. So that's fun. But I think, like I said, you got to be friends outside the arena first and foremost, because then when you're able to translate that friendship into a presentation on the microphone, it makes it that much more genuine to the fans, and it's that much more believable. Like when we sit down in the pre-show and have some conversation about storylines in a casual, almost like you and I are having right now, it eases the crowd. It builds a rapport that, hey, those are just two buddies up there with microphones, no different than us sitting here talking about what we're excited to watch or what we're excited to see tonight. So, when you can create that genuine connection on and off the microphone, it's just easy. And so there's some guys that don't have that genuineness, and fans can tell that. People aren't stupid. They can tell when somebody's talking at them versus talking to them. Mm-hmm. So when you can have those kind of connection stuff, to me, it makes it easy. Then when you go turn the switch on the microphone, like I said, it's no different than we would be having this same conversation, whether the lights and the cameras, the microphones were here or not. So, when you can have that relationship, it just makes it easy, and it makes it fun for the fans to listen to.
Yeah. So I asked Garrison this. I'll see how you answer it, but
I'm sure I'll answer it better than him, but go ahead.
Well, you said you're his idol, so
oh gosh, I need to have a talk with him about who he's idolizing.
How do y'all remember? We were talking about your last name before this all started. How do you remember all of these athletes' names and how to pronounce them? That to me has always been impressive. I'm like, there's no way I could have done that.
It is, the names is the hard part. And I learned a long time ago that I'm not going to get them all correct. And that's just, I don't want to say it's okay, but that's part of it. Like, but the best way to get to learn them is just to be friends with them. One of the examples that comes to mind right here is bull rider Jesse Petri. His last name is Petri, and I was guilty of it for a long time. I'd call him Petri. Like the Petri dish. And then I was doing a bull riding up in North Dakota a few years ago, and I got to meet him just briefly. And in the meeting, I learned he pronounces it Petri. So just little interactions like that always kind of stick with me. The breakaway roper Kinley, Brent Eyes, I used to call her Bernice. And then actually Justin McKee, a couple years ago, we were doing Fort Worth. He sent me a text message, and it may have been Cheyenne. Anyway, he sent me a text message that said, hey, she pronounces it Brent Eyes, like, eyes. And so I always remember that text and stuff. So it's just little things, and people's minds are wired differently. I have a very, I don't want to say photographic memory, but stuff like that I can relate to whether it was a meeting somebody or a text message. Like I'm very fortunate that kind of locks in with me. So different people like that, it helps. But, different people remember different things in different ways. So for me, it just kind of those unique, moments like that help me remember stuff like that.
Do you have an athlete that, like old school, that you've locked in personally and as an athlete in rodeo?
That
was all around. You're like, man, that's just a great guy and a great athlete, all in the same.
I don't.
I know it's very political.
Well, no, what I'm laughing at is if he listens to this, he's going to get mad that I called him old school, but I'm going to because, he is old and he sent everybody to school. Luke Branquino. And of course, I'm probably partial because Bulldoggers, but to me, Luke, his personality is awesome. From before I knew him, when he coined the booty shake and stuff, he just always seemed like a cool guy. And now that I've got to know him, he's funny, he's sarcastic. We joke around with each other all the time. We joke more than we're actually serious, so sometimes it's weird when we actually have serious conversations. But I mean, to win 5 world titles and do it as easily as he made it look, and he's a great family man, husband and father, and I just think he's cowboy cool to me. And like I said, I'm probably partial to the Bulldoggers. My dad was an awesome Bulldogger, and so that's obviously where I grew up, with them guys. But so Luke, yes, I called you old. Write that down.
You have an up and coming athlete that you're saying this kid's got it, or?
Yeah, there's a few of them right now. Honestly,
I'd say there's a lot of good talent.
There's so much young talent, and a couple of my favorite events I get to work in a year are like the permit finals in Waco during the Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo in October. And that's a lot of unknowns there, but it's cool to see them, because there it's almost like I get to see them, and then I can remember them, throughout their full-fledged career. So that's cool. Man, going back to a name I mentioned earlier, Hayden Welsh. I mean, that young man has been phenomenal in the bull riding this year. Bryce Jensen's another young guy that I've been very impressed with in the bull riding. There's a bronc rider named Coleman Schaubetter that's lights out right now. Daxton Field in the bareback riding. If he can keep things held together, he'll be just as good as Uncle Casey and Grandpa Louie. So those guys that I get to see, those young guys, it gives me. This sounds funny because I'm still kind of one of the young guys, but it gives me hope for the future, right? I mean, it gives me hope for that next generation. And I used to get to do the junior high national finals, and then I did the Rain Cowhorse Arena at the high school finals for a couple years. But I loved the junior high finals because I can remember Kai Hamilton at the junior high finals. In his bio, it talks about that his first trip to the United States was in 2014 for the National Junior High Finals Rodeo. Came for 2 years and then went back home and didn't come back to the U.S. again until it was time to go to college. And I remember in 2014, Kai Hamilton at the junior high finals. That was my first year in Des Moines. So, it's been cool for me to do the junior high finals. And there's a young bareback rider named Rodeo Farrell from Wyoming. His full name is Rodeo Owen Farrell.
Wow.
So little unique stuff like that. I remember it from the junior high finals, and now he's got his PRCA card, and I get to see him a couple times a year. And so it's very exciting time to be a fan of rodeo, because there's so much growth, so much potential. The money gets bigger and better every year. The talent gets tougher every year. You look at the NFR. You used to be able to make the NFR in some events with $75,000 on the year. Now there's not one person going that didn't win $100,000 in the year. So it's a testament to the toughness, and it's a testament to the rodeos that are upping the money too. So it's so much fun.
Right. What is your favorite discipline?
So that's a 2-part answer for me. I do like the steer wrestling, yeah. My favorite event to announce is bull riding, because it sells itself. Anybody off a street can tell you what bull riding is. And it's just a natural excitement. My favorite event to watch would be the saddle bronc riding. I'm a huge saddle bronc riding fan. I think it's poetry in motion. I get to do the Extreme Broncs finals in August in Rapid City, and it's one of the coolest nights of my entire year to watch those big feather-footed monsters float across the arena, and you watch the 24 best bronc riders in the world for $120,000 payout in one night. So I'm a huge bronc riding fan. Like I said, just to watch, but announcing, bull riding is still the easiest thing to announce.
Yeah, I agree. I can see that. You know Ben Anderson?
Oh, the hit fire guy.
Yeah.
We've met. Yeah, we've met. I hear he likes spaghetti.
He likes spaghetti, yeah. We had to kick him out of here a while ago. For being I was giving him crap about being an Australian. He thought I was being a dude. He does sound like a little bit of an Aussie, though.
His Canadian accent is so strong that it's almost sounding Australian.
It does. I mean, it really does. Like, if I didn't know, I would assume that.
He's been hanging out with Damo and Salsa and Tom Webster too much. They're starting to rub off on his accent.
If you had to announce a rodeo in a different language, what would it be?
Now, I'm going to ask you to clarify your question. Are we talking still could be English, just a different form of English, or totally different language?
Well, how about it be a two-part question?
Okay, all right. If I was going to pick a different variation of English, I would like to do Australian, but I think I could do Canadian easier just because it's a little closer to the U.S., accent-wise. But as far as totally different language, well, first off, I'm not fluent in any other language besides sarcasm, so I don't know how well I could get along. But I did for a few years, I tried to learn French. Because
Really?
I did. So when I was growing up and doing lots of IPRA rodeos, I spent 6 or 7 summers going to Ontario working for a guy named BJ Prince with Rawhide Rodeo. Me and Brinson James, the rodeo entertainer, we went up there for, like I said, 6 or 7 years in a row and worked all summer. And a couple of his events were in Quebec. And he would have to hire a different announcer because Quebec's all French. Ontario still speaks English. Quebec's all French. So he'd have to hire a couple. So I wanted to do that. 1, to say that I announced a rodeo in French. 2, just to learn French because I thought it was a cool language. I tried. I had what's the app? Duolingo or something like that. I had that for a few years. And I really was not doing terrible. And then COVID hit and the world shut down and I quit going and I just kind of let it go away. But French.
I would never guess that.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui. Oui, oui. I spent a little time in Canada this year for the first time. So,
Yeah?
Yeah, I learned that they drink it. We were putting on a little roping seminar, and they drink. You pop the first beer about 9 a.m.
Oh, yeah. And
About
let her
5
go.
o'clock, you go to whiskey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That's like the
repeat.
Corblund song. Time to switch to whiskey. We've been drinking beer all day.
Yeah. And then they do just as fine drinking water or beer.
Oh, yeah.
They don't care.
They're unaffected.
Unaffected.
They're an amazing species.
What would be a cool language to hear a rodeo in?
Which I have heard it in French, and it's a very exciting language, and because it's probably the same way for French people that don't know English, but when you just listen to it, so Saint-Tite, Quebec is one of the biggest rodeos in the country. It's an IPRA sanctioned rodeo, and it happens in September, and it's the Festival Western de Saint-Tite, and it's 10 days long, and it's a town of about 4,000 people, but they'll welcome 700,000 plus during the festival. And they announce it in French. And your name translates English, so you know when it's your turn. You know, when they say Brad Pryor, like it sounds normal. But all of the rest of it is complete French. And it's loud, and they speak it fast, and it's exciting. Like, you don't have a clue what they're saying, but it's just exciting. Like, it's just infectious. And all the music is in English, so you can understand that, and you can sing along to that and kind of get the groove off that. But it's loud. The fans are up dancing and singing for half the rodeo. I have heard another rodeo in French. I haven't heard a rodeo. I've seen clips like of Portuguese, down in Brazil and stuff, and that's exciting too. But to me, I love listening to those rodeos that are announced in French.
Yeah, that would be cool. Mm-hmm. I've been to that area. I wasn't there when the rodeo was going on, but before they're showing me where the RV spot, like that town just floods.
Oh yeah,
when all those people come in there.
Yeah, when you build a house in Saint-Tite, like you put a RV plug on the outside of it, because when the festival comes, you rent out the house and you rent out the front yard to a camper. Like, you leave town, the people leave town that live there. And it's one of the most incredible rodeos in the world. The arena is pure sand, like almost beach sand. So even if it doesn't rain, they'll flood it on purpose. And they've got their tractor drag really does nothing but just pack it down and seal it off. And they'll drag 3 or 4 times during a rodeo performance. And when they do, they turn the lights down and they crank the music up, and it's just a rave in there for 2 or 3 minutes while they drag the arena. Park the tractor, the lights come back up, and back to the rodeo they go. It's the dangest thing, and if you don't get up and dance, they'll like kind of pick you up and make you dance. So it's a really, really unique atmosphere, and I encourage anybody, if you have a few days off in early September, it's dang sure worth going and watching a perf or two.
I want to.
Yeah,
I haven't, but I want to. So what's the NFR look like for you?
Not too bad. Here we are in light of recent developments. They obviously canceled or postponed, trying to reschedule whatever term you want to put on it. The National Finals Breakaway opening. I was supposed to do that with Greg Simus, and so hopefully they get a plan figured out that we can still make that happen and get to be a part of that. But still on the books. My wife and I manage the area in the east lobby of the convention center called Cowboy Commons, and we've got a stage in there and some sponsor booths and stuff. So we'll manage that. That'll keep us tied up every day for the 10 days. The awards banquet on the night of the 3rd, nominated again for Announcer of the Year this year. So be there for that. Tuesday night on the 2nd, leading up to the welcome reception, the back number ceremony, I host the gold carpet, which is down by the Benny Binion statue down at the bottom of the escalators. I do that for Steve Stallworth and Ryan Growney at the South Point, and so I'll get to kind of introduce some of the contestants as they walk up there to get their back numbers. And I think that's kind of about it. Pretty easy going. Enough to keep it. Convention. The PRCA convention happens on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd throughout the day, so get to meet a few committees and just say hello to the ones I only get to see once a year or whatever. But nothing too crazy. Enough to keep me busy, but nothing to run me ragged.
You and Neely have kids?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Nope.
I got you.
Nope.
No. Where's Neely from?
She is from Adamsville, Tennessee.
Really? How'd y'all meet?
Through Rodeo. Yep. So she's just about 3 months older than me. And then when she was in college, we were both college age. I didn't go to college, but when she was in college, University of Tennessee at Martin, I started doing the music there. Tim Fuller was the announcer, and he brought me in to do music for a couple years. And then when his schedule, didn't allow him to come back to Martin, I started announcing the rodeo. But anyway, she was on the rodeo team there, and we just met there. And I saw the cute little blonde on the Palomino horse, and the rest is history.
I got you. So, what are your goals going forward? What are your next accomplishments? Looking to do?
The obvious elephant in the room is the NFR. I dang sure want to do it. It's one of those things, and I tell people all the time, you cannot rush the process.
Yep.
Whatever your timing is, it may not be God's timing, and he controls everything. So you just got to be patient and wait on the opportunity and wait on the turn. And so in the meantime, there's still other rodeos. If I sat here and named them all, I'm sure I'd get phone calls about, I hear you're coming after my rodeo. Yeah. So I'm not going to name them, but if you're worried, then yes, I'm probably coming after. No, I'm just kidding. Garrison, I'm coming after all of your rodeos.
For sure.
But I like I said, I have such an awesome schedule of rodeos. I've got to give credit to Ponca City, Oklahoma, the 101 Wild West Rodeo. They were one of the first two. They and Mineral Wells, Texas. I don't do Mineral Wells anymore. They changed their dates, and I wasn't able to go. But I still go to Ponca City, and I've done that rodeo since 2017. And they are truly family. And they and Mineral Wells were the ones that gave me a chance. When I was just getting started and just had my card. So I've got to give them credit. But for Cheyenne Frontier Days, a rodeo at the time that was 125 years old, and gosh, it's the daddy of them all, and to give a chance on what was at the time a 26-year-old kid, and never imagined I'd get to do a rodeo like that so early, and now Fort Worth Stock Show and Farm City Pro Rodeo, the Colorado State Fair. I know if I sat here and tried to name them all, I'd forget somebody. The American. I remember the first time I got called to do the American. It was funny because I used to be, before I announced Fort Worth, I was on the feed crew. I was on Rafter G's feed crew, and even the Rafter G family, they gave me a lot of opportunities when I was getting started. But I remember we were in between performances on a two-a-day, and we had just got done, and I'm sitting out there on the back of the hay wagon, sweaty, and had my neckerchief untied, and just looked like I'd been run ragged. And they called and asked if I wanted to announce the American. And I remember, I think it was Chase Richter maybe, that took a Snapchat of me while I was on the phone. He could tell what the phone call was, and he took a Snapchat and goes, somebody, can you believe that? They're taking a boy from the feed crew and letting him announce the Americans. So, every January in my Snapchat memories, that picture comes around, and it makes me smile and kind of makes me laugh. So, like I said, the opportunities that I've been given, even today at 31, it's amazing, and I mean, there's every day there's little God winks that remind me I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And, whether it's a social media message from somebody that enjoys what I do, or even just a new phone call to announce a rodeo, it's just all of that makes me realize, because there's days that, that I might go through and be like, man, I'd really like to do that rodeo, or even the NFR. And I just have to kind of step back and realize that something's happening for a reason somewhere, and you just got to let it play out and have faith in the process. So,
You do anything for outside of the rodeo world? Your person?
When I can, when there's free time, I love to snow ski. And if you don't think that a man of my physique can snow ski well, call Dusty Tuckness, because he will get mad, but he will admit that I am not a bad snow skier. He's the premier athlete, and he snow skis he snowboards and snow skis well, but he was just mind blown the first time we went skiing together that me and my build could fly down the mountain. But I love to snow ski. I love being out on the lake. Love tubing and stuff on the water. I love going to concerts. I love going to Texas Rangers baseball games. So in the moments that I can get to do some of that stuff, I always try to take advantage of it. But I mean, like I said, it's rodeo keeps me so busy, and it's hard to say no, because when I'm busy in the rodeo business, that means money's coming in. So, not that money is everything, but it dang sure pays the bills.
Well, opportunities too.
Yeah.
You just don't want to ever. You feel blessed to have them, then you turn one down. You feel so guilty. It's not
That's
even
exactly
worth doing what you're doing for fun.
That's exactly right. So,
that's the way I feel anyway.
No, I agree with that 1,000%. So, like I said, try to have a little fun when I can. I think this year we're going to stay around home for New Year's and maybe go hang out at the stockyards and stuff, because I'm sure there'll be lots of stuff going on there. And we were kind of talking about it the other day, and it'll be fun because it's close. It's home, but it's still getting out and doing something. We still get to go and be in a social setting, but we don't have to fly there or overnight drive. It's just we'll buzz over there and have fun on New Year's, watch the ball drop, and probably get to sleep in our own bed that night.
Yeah.
So
that's nice. That's a big plus probably when you're on the road all the time.
Yeah.
It's not as fun as everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, it is good to go home, and Fort Worth, I get spoiled because from my house to Dickey's Arena is 35 minutes. So even though it's a month long, and I still do take my trailer over there, if we got 2 a days, or if it's a big rehearsal day and I want to stay over there, I can. Or if it's just, you know what, I'm kind of tired tonight, I don't feel like driving home, bam, I got the trailer right there. Or if it's, I need a night in my own bed, it's 35 minutes back home. So it's a cool, opportunity to be able to go home and refresh and still be a part of, the Fort Worth Stock Show. So yeah, it's nice to get those moments at home when you can.
Gotcha. So if you had to give advice to an 18-year-old or your 18-year-old self, what would that be?
Are you asking what advice I'd give Garrison? Is that what you're really asking?
I don't think advice is going to help.
No, he's past help. He needs counseling. He doesn't need advice. He needs counseling. No, that is a great question. Trust the process. You cannot push a rope. Don't try to rush it, because it took me a long time to learn, because like I said, I was one of those that I want this and I want that and I want it now. But I realized a wise person once told me, and this is kind of, rodeo announcing specific, I guess you could put it to clowning or whatever else too, but it is better to go 5 years too late than 1 year too early. Mm-hmm. Because you want to make sure that you are overly prepared for whatever opportunity comes. And God's only going to give you the opportunities that you are prepared for, whether you believe it or not, one way or the other. if you go to a rodeo 1 year too early before you're ready, and those people go, oh, yeah, he didn't do a very good job. He was nervous. He wasn't ready. Then that's a bad mark on your reputation. But if you go 5 years later than when you think you should have went, and people go, holy cow, where has that guy been? Mm-hmm. That's positive news. That's positive, word of mouth and stuff. So, like I said, you can't rush the process. Trust it, study the game. When you're a rodeo announcer, you are a commentator, you are an educator, you are an entertainer, you are all of those things. You're a friend. You're all of those wrapped up into one. So you've got to study the game, know the players, know the rules. It goes back to, I wasn't born in a baseball family or a football family. I didn't really grow up knowing who Roger Staubach was. I mean, I knew he was a famous baseball player, or football, whatever sport he played. Football, yeah. I knew he was a famous Dallas Cowboy. But, I knew he was an athlete, but I didn't know about him. Right. But I could tell you who Cody Ohl and Joe Beaver and Fred Whitfield and Trevor Brazile and Luke Branquino and, in the IPRA, the Dan Dailies and the Jack Wisemans and those guys. Like, I could tell you who those people were and what they did because I was studying the game. I was into it. If you want to be successful, you got to know your product. So study the game, trust the process, and probably most of all, be yourself. Mm-hmm. There's already a Bob Tallman, there's already a Boyd Polhamus, there's already a Garrett Yerigan. Unfortunately, there's already a Garrison Panzer. But there's not a you. So to the young guys out there, be yourself. I want to hear you and your personality, your tone, and everybody just assumes you've got to have this big baritone voice to be a successful rodeo announcer. Not true. I don't have a big baritone voice. Like you look at Wayne Brooks. Wayne Brooks has had a very successful career, and he doesn't have the big baritone voice. Hadley Barrett didn't have the big baritone voice. So it's a lot can be made up with your presentation, your personality, building a connection, building a rapport, and just knowing the facts and figures. So that's I would say probably above all, be yourself.
Yeah, I agree with all that. That's good stuff because I haven't heard that before, but I agree with the 5 years and the 1 year scenario. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense because in any walk of life, mm-hmm. I think it helps you. Just make sure you're prepared for whatever's going to come in your way.
Yep. Oh, and also, can I add one more thing?
Sure.
Be a good human.
Yeah.
Don't be an idiot.
We need that all the way around.
Don't be an idiot. Nobody wants to hang out with an idiot.
No.
Don't be an idiot. Whoever you are that you think I'm talking to you, I probably am. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
And announcing is tough because there's so many people that want to be an announcer for the glory or the limelight or whatever. This is going to sound really bad. I hate the attention. Like, I don't like being on camera, like at a rodeo and stuff. Like, I would just as soon you never see who I am. Like, I want to be able to build a connection. Like, I don't want to be locked away in a booth somewhere where I can't see and feel the audience. But I don't care to be on camera. Like, there's so many people that do it for the acknowledgement and the admiration and the pats on the back and all that stuff. And I mean, you gotta have, like, you want that because you want to know that you're doing a good job, but you're doing it for the fans. You're doing it for the contestants. Like, you are trying to build a rapport, a connection between the fan and the athlete. Because without them, we don't have the job. So when you come to a rodeo like Cheyenne, where there's a lot of tourists, I want them leaving there being a fan of someone. Whether it's Shad Mayfield, Riley Webb, or Stetson Wright, or Wasey Shala, or whomever, Coleman Proctor. Love Coleman Proctor. Like, I want people to have clung to an athlete, whether it's one or all of them. I want them to leave there going, hey, I need to follow that guy on social media because he sounds like a cool guy. We're not doing it for us. We're trying to build those connections. So, once you kind of realize that people, they know who the announcer is, but nobody goes to the rodeo for the announcer. They go to the rodeo to be entertained and watch, bucking horses and steers get slammed and calves get tied down and bulls get ridden and stuff like that. But nobody goes to the rodeo for the announcer. It's our job to make them want to come back.
Right.
The contestants get them there. It's our job to make them want to come back. So, couple of little things to keep in mind.
I agree with
But
that.
above all, be a good human.
Yeah. The world needs more of that. 100%. If you had to define your grit in one word.
I'm sure you're probably not talking about like little grains of sand, like
No.
like how coarse.
I want the grit that's in your ass that makes you get up and grind every day.
Probably. Oh gosh, I heard this question was coming, and I still wasn't prepared. Defining grit. Is there a restriction on the definition? Like, does it have to be one word or anything like that? Oof, that's hard.
It's normally what stumps everybody is the one word.
Well, I guess I can think of two words, so you can take them separately, and it's still one word answers. Tenacity or perseverance.
Perseverance is mine.
I mean, because both those, like when you think of the cowboy code of the West and the cowboy code of ethics, it's usually somewhat answered by grit, tenacity, perseverance, hard work, all of that stuff. And I think it all comes together. I mean, there is no other, I don't even know how to put all these words in order, but there's no other sport that is a lifestyle. There's no other lifestyle that is a sport besides rodeo. Mm-hmm. There's no other sport where people are competing with broken legs, ankles, arms, faces, what have you. Every other sport, if you get turf toe, you're out for 6 weeks and still get paid for it. So I think the level of grit, the level of tenacity, the level of perseverance is unrivaled in not just the sport of rodeo, but the lifestyle. Go out and spend a day on the 4-6s. Yeah, they all look clean and pretty on the Yellowstone, but you go out there for real, like, they're not all showered up every day and clean, and their hats are nice and white like yours. Like, I mean, they're doing it every day to keep America fed and clothed and all the things. So sometimes I think even in the industry, we take for granted the grit that cowboys have to make the world go round.
Yeah. Grit to me is just a word that's so strong. When I ask that question, it's always hard to answer for most people. Because when you think grit, everything you just talked about is what it stands for. A lot of people grasp for grit's just grit. It's hard to give it another word.
Yeah.
That's why I call this the Grit Branded podcast, is because everybody here has been branded by grit. And I want everybody to hear their stories and what they believe in about grit.
Right.
So I really agree.
So did I pass the test?
Yeah, all right. Garrison did a little
B-.
better. We're going to have to do a wellness check on him when this airs.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't
it's
wait.
Be interesting. Well,
No, I'm honestly, I'm proud of him. He's done a lot of cool things, and he made me proud. Right, enough of that.
Yeah.
Can you edit that out?
He's a really nice guy. He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
But Garrett, thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Stay tuned for the next Grit podcast.